started, coming out of my shell, so to speak. Yeah.
Well, let me get back to your dad in South Colton and the young men that went to World War II. It's estimated that the number of young men that participated from Colton in World War II was about 400. About three female, and the rest were male. And you mentioned the attitude that they came back feeling proud of who they were in serving their country. Mm-hmm. And did they develop any organizations that they belonged to, or that helped them with educational opportunities or buying houses, or
not that I'm aware of.
Mm-hmm.
What I do know is that probably around that time or a few years later, some families started buying homes in North Colton. It was primarily where the orange groves used to be,
Mm-hmm.
Rancho, and then there. I do remember that. And it's funny how people are, míralos, ya se movieron para allá. That kind of attitude.
I remember hearing that.
Yeah, so it was not an easy transition for those people that chose to move over there. I know some of your family, they moved out of the area, and I'm sure it wasn't easy for them to do that. I don't know. But
it was again it was an opportunity, it was a change of attitude. It was kind of, I can do it because I have a good job and I'm able to pay for a home in North Colton.
Right. Yeah, but some of those attitudes still exist today.
Uh-huh.
It's not easy. It's not easy to forget the hurts,
Uh-huh.
Things that people had experienced while going to school. My father, I don't think he ever forgave, that discrimination.
Mm-hmm. Was it from discrimination from
in school?
In school?
And also in the community,
And work?
And work. My mom used to tell us that when they went to the New Colton Theater, there was a separation of seating even when they were growing up. So the hurt was deep-seated for my dad. And he used to speak about it all the time. When Cesar Chavez started his activism, with the grapes and things like that. My dad was older, and I think when he was a few years before he passed, he would sit down and reflect on the fact that he couldn't help because he just wasn't able to physically get involved at that point in time. So I think he missed the activism and the fact that he was able to do what he did, but he no longer could do that.
Mm-hmm.
Terry, he put in his time, though. He really helped so many people. So.
He did. When Kennedy died, he also wrote a song, and he had it copyrighted, and I have the actual music that he wrote down.
Did he sing it into a tape recorder or anything, maybe?
No, I don't think so. He sang it to me one time, but I don't think he ever recorded it. If he did, I don't know. But it is copyrighted, and he's got all the verses that he wrote. I have that.
Is it in English?
It's in Spanish.
It's in Spanish?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd like to hear it someday.
Well, you can read it and hopefully put it together. But he did that.
I truly appreciate you being with us this afternoon. Is there anything else about you that we can talk about, or about your dad that we've forgotten to mention?
Well, there were so many sides to him, that I don't know about, and that probably other people don't know about either. it was a hard life for him, and it was a hard life for the family. One of the things that I remember very vividly, because I'm the one that experienced it, if you can call it an experience. I must have been about maybe 12 years old, and it was Christmas. And we received a gift basket, a food basket, because people knew that we weren't doing very well. But one evening, I think I was home alone, and I heard a knock at the door. So I went to answer the door, and it was the owner of Miller Honey. Do you remember what his name was?
The what?
The owner of Miller Honey.
Oh, I can't remember. I can't.
He was a huge guy, right?
Woodrow.
Was it Woodrow Miller?
Woodrow Miller,
And he said, "Is your dad home?" I said, "No, he's not." He goes, "Well, I have a little gift for him," and it was a box of his honey. So then he said, "Merry Christmas," and I said, "Thank you," and he left. And it not until later did I realize who it was and what was happening. So that kind of gave me an idea of his involvement with the community. You try to put little snippets together here and there, and you come up with a caricature or whatever of a person. And so over the years, I've learned what he meant to the community and what he did for the community. And it's amazing, if I had heard this about anybody else, I would say, wow, he led a good life. But it's different knowing both sides of a person.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And in time, hopefully, I could come to appreciate both sides.
Well, you have a lot to be proud. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, he liked to party, and we had a piano, and it's the piano that I learned how to play on, and he would play it often, quite often. And so I guess he and his friends got together one day over at Van Aken's house.
Oh, yes.
Because they had a huge
Fred Van Aken and Sarah. Uh-huh.
Yes, and so they must have been having a really good time, because all of a sudden he was at the house and they were packing the piano into the truck, and my mom is going, she's just shaking her head, and we're all looking at him and thinking, right, he's having one of his good days, right? So, they had a good time with the piano, and then they brought it home. But what happened is that by the time they were getting it home, they had been partying all day long and into the evening, and the guy who was driving the truck took a turn too fast, and the piano ended up on the road. It was all gone. It was all gone. And my mom was so upset. I mean, he tried to make up for it. He bought a new one, but it was never the same again. But you have these experiences, and so.
Well, he was quite a person, as I mentioned before, and he experienced many, many things, and was never afraid to new experiences. Even the fact of going out on a limb and helping other people, and also with his union activism, which people were not too pleased with that. He suffered the consequences. And like you said, on weekends, and almost every day of the week, people would come to your house to ask for some help in one form or another. A group of boys, a club, Los Conquistadores and Los Solteros, they both have mentioned your dad, that when they were organizing, when they were in high school, that he was able to form their constitution and also attend many other meetings. And with him and Tony, I can't remember, Tony Martinez, I think, they would be the advisors to those clubs and would tell them how to run a meeting and how to take minutes and how to help the community by doing volunteer activities. So again, with those people our age, Terry, they still remember your dad and his participation in their club. So I think as a community, we were very, very lucky to have your dad as one of the leaders of our community.
Yeah, it's always been, I don't recall people ever saying, recognizing that publicly for him. That's one thing that I know I never experienced, and I know it never happened. So it was a hurt. But I don't think that he ever wanted that. I don't think that ever even entered his mind that he should be recognized. And so I think he was happy with what he did and how he helped people. He was proud of that. And he could walk with us.
I knew him because of my dad. They were good friends. And again, when we started this project with Henry and Frank, I said, we have to interview and we have to get some more information about Manuel, your dad, because we don't have it. We don't have it. So thank you very much. Did we miss anything from your notes? You have a whole bunch of notes.
I have
here.
a whole bunch of notes, and I'm sure I didn't go over everything. So, I'm going to give them to you.
Thank you.
So you can have them.
Can we also get together and maybe you can loan us your pictures and we'll scan them and also put them as part of the
Oh yeah, I had to go through everything, and it was interesting that it was in order, like everything that he did. So,
Henry,
be happy to share them.
You wanted to say something?
No, just I'm thankful that your family, I mean your dad in particular, but your aunts and even the extended, your other aunts or the people that lived in East Highlands, I mean they were well known. I have friends who talk about, the help that they gave everywhere they were. So
And they still do.
yeah, so it's a very, you come from a very helping family, very beautiful heritage. And I think Colton in particular, but East Highlands and San Bernardino are very lucky to have had your family.
Thank you.
And now, Terry, you retired a few years ago. How is it?
Well, retirement is it's different. I've been retired now, this is going my third year. And I just ended a long-term relationship, so I'm by myself and I'm living in my home. And it's a 4-bedroom home. And I live there with my 3 dogs. And I'm very comfortable. I've never lived alone. So I'm enjoying that part of it. I don't get up very early in the morning, only when my little children wake up early because they have to go out. But I'm enjoying. I have the 2 choirs. I have a choir at Our Lady of the Desert, and I have the choir in Colton. And I have, I continue my involvement in the church in Colton especially. And I'm satisfied and I'm happy with where I'm at right now in my life. I'm enjoying the retirement aspect of it tremendously. I can it's not that I can do whatever I want. It's just that I can choose to either do or not.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was hard at first because I didn't have a set schedule. You know, I'd have to work from 9 to 5. You know, so I started thinking. I said, well, you know what, Terry, you have to get a life. You have to kind of find things to do. But I'm finding that things are coming to me, and I'm happy right now where I'm at.
So, and you're actually, enjoying what you do, and
Yes.
enjoying your music, and at the same time, being with your congregations that you help out, and continue your relationship, especially with the folks in Colton.
You know, that's been a very interesting, I guess, phenomena for me. I'm always getting asked, because I spend a lot of time in Colton. I go down sometimes 3 or 4 times a week in the evenings.
You live in Victorville, so
In
that's
Apple Valley.
Apple Valley.
Yeah, Apple Valley is different. So it takes a good hour to get back and forth. And so people are always asking me, why don't you move back to Colton? So I've been thinking about that. And I go, in Colton I have memories that I don't want to remember. I have relationships that I had wanted to have and never could have. People know me. Sometimes they don't look at me favorably. Sometimes they do. There's a lot of emotion, and it's emotion that I'm facing, now. But living in Apple Valley and in Victorville, people know me for who I am. They don't know me because of my family. They know me because they know Terry. They know Terry's involved here. She has these relationships, and there's no old history there. And for me, right now in this part of my life, it's important for me to be able to have a group of people that I know that know me for who I am and not for who my family was. Not that that's a bad thing, because that's where I come from. I am who I am because of my family, my dad, my aunts, all my relatives on both sides. And that's a good thing, but I also enjoy. Maybe eventually I will move back to Colton. But for now, it's like living 2 separate lives. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and if you're comfortable.
Yeah, and I am comfortable, and I love driving. People think I'm crazy. So
That's a beautiful drive.
I was talking to Lupe Arias from the choir last night, because she was saying, Terry, I'm getting old, and I don't know how much I'm going to last. And because she has a beautiful voice, even at, she's 80-some years old. And I was telling her, you know what, I probably will never quit until I can't push that gas pedal any longer. Because I like driving. I've taken some trips. I've done some traveling. Well, I've been to Italy. I just came back from Italy. I've been to Japan. I've been to China. I've been down South America through the canal. What do you call it?
Panama.
Panama Canal. I even went ziplining in Costa Rica. Do you know what ziplining is?
Yes.
Very exciting.
You're brave.
I always thought I thought I would die, but it was also enjoyable at the same time. And people thought I was crazy, but this is one of my bucket list things. And I also went to Tikal, which is one of the oldest Mayan, most important discoveries that they've made. So I'm getting to do a lot of the things that I had dreamed of doing. And my retirement is good, as well as I do that. The retirement from Cal State is a good one. So I plan on doing some more traveling. I'm just wondering who I can take with me, because not everybody can do the travel. So.
I know.
But I went to Italy with a group of choir directors, and it was very, very inspiring. I saw the Pope not more than 10 feet away from me. That was quite an experience. And, seeing the Great Wall of China was awesome. So I'm getting things done.
Well, I'm delighted that you're enjoying your retirement,
Yeah, I
and
am.
it's working out well for you. And like you said, you're comfortable, you have flexible time, so things are working well for you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are. It's good.
Well, Terry, thank you so much for sharing your family's life history with us. Truly appreciate it. Especially, like, I'm repeating myself again because I did want you to talk about your dad
Mhm.
and his contributions to our community of South Colton. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you for asking me, Tom.
Yeah. And Henry, thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
also.
Thank you, Henry.
Thank you.